Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So my name is Haley and I actually brought in my husband Doug for this video. And basically we have been wanting to share this concept. We actually teach it to all of our students and we sort of brought about this how to plan your entire year in just a day sort of like system for ourselves out of utter chaos.
Yeah, I know it sounds pretty crazy, and we don't mean like a day like 24 hours like total,
but a couple hours though.
A couple hours though, yeah, you'll actually have to sit down and really put it through, but it'll be a lot of work, but it'll totally be worth it.
Yeah, and we actually did this recently because it is December 2021 and we're already like wanting to get a jump on 2022. I honestly like the new year better than like Christmas. It's so bad. But I'm like more excited for that. Anyways, but we already did this and I think it took us like a couple hours. Like we did it after our kids went to sleep, probably till like 12 or 1 a.m. I don't know, just one night, and it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to teach you guys how this little system drastically changed our lives. And when I mean a drastic change, I literally mean we were able to completely start a new business, 3x our income, but not just like business wise, but also our relationships are just more fulfilled.
Absolutely. Like
with
relationships
kids,
with each other, with our kids,
marriage,
our friends, and being able to just do so much more and make so much more out of our year and out of our months and then days. Like it just kind of trickles down everywhere.
And also as a side note, my husband and I actually did a podcast last year called Influence to Income, or actually it's still this year. And we're actually taking that podcast and turning it into sort of like lifestyle videos on this channel, just because I feel like I like video format better and I want to start doing more like vloggy types of videos. And so I think it'll just serve you guys better. So stay tuned for that. My aim is to do it a couple times a month. We'll see what happens. But this is the first one. But before we get into it, if you guys are new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe down below. On this channel, I talk about how to basically navigate motherhood as a working mom, digital entrepreneur, and I share all the ins and outs of how to have 3 little homeschooled kids and make all our money online, I guess. I don't know the intro for that, but
super raw.
Yeah.
Like that's basically it.
That's what we're doing on this channel. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So if you guys haven't seen, I actually did a video on my second YouTube channel, which I do have a little small second YouTube channel I post on sometimes. And I talked about why we quit being full-time YouTubers. So if you guys don't know, you can watch that video. I'll link it in a card up here and down below. But we were making a good amount of money from YouTube. Doug was helping me with the kids and also helping me with all of the things. Like he was the YouTube dad.
Yeah.
And we're not going to dive into like why we wanted to quit that lifestyle because you guys can watch the video. But basically, if you guys followed me back then, you will probably know that I was like a headless chicken. Yeah, I was like a headless chicken. We had 2 little kids. Now we have 3 and I feel like it's getting easier. But I just felt like it was hard. Like I wouldn't say like the marriage was hard.
No.
But it wasn't easy.
No,
I don't know.
It was kind of like if you took like a box and you just put a bunch of stuff into a box and just shook everything everywhere. That's what we were doing. We were living inside that box.
Like I would just film my face. Like whenever I did vlogs back then, I would just film my face and like X-nay all of the like the chaos
just
behind
so much
me.
stuff like around the camera.
My house was dirty. Yeah. What else, Doug? My house was dirty.
I felt like kids were yelling.
My finances weren't in the place.
Yeah.
So everything that could possibly be chaotic was chaotic, and I was just like super sick of it. So we sat down one night out of like pure desperation. And we had to like map out a new way for ourselves, like a new life, honestly, like we had to become different people in order to change our lives drastically, right?
And look, when Haley says we, she means she dragged me in to do it.
No, he wanted, what are you talking about?
No, but I wanted to do it too, but I'm just saying that because there may be some people that are out there that want to do this and their spouses may not want to, and they might kind of butt heads a little bit. But trust me, it's worth it. They'll get on board. I got on board, and it's like it's just paid for itself so many times.
I hate it to say this, and maybe I don't know, whatever. But as a woman, when you're like, "Hey, husband, can you come and sit down and like let's hash out everything that we hate about our lives?" Like after the kids go to sleep, they're like, "I just want to watch like TV. Like, can you leave me alone?"
Yeah.
But you have to obviously. Well, we'll get to like how to prep your spouse for wanting to do this in a second. But yeah, that's sort of like what we did. He was like so on board because he was sickened with the situation we were in. You know, so we've become like such different people. Our life is like drastically changed for the better. And yeah, I'm gonna share with you guys like how we did it. So the first thing that we want to talk about is why should you even plan your entire year, as like daunting as that is. And I don't just mean like birthdays and like anniversaries, but the really nitty gritty things as far as like goal setting, relationships, business, all that. Why should you do it in a day?
Yeah.
Or at all?
Yeah. Oh, or yeah, definitely at all. So basically the way it works is that when you set goals, you're trying to think about who you're going to be or what's going to be accomplished like 6 months from now, 12 months from now, however long it is from now until that point. Because you need to work backwards because the steps that you take today or in your day-to-day life affect who's going to be on that other side.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like 2 sides to you. There's like the future you and then there's the current you. And the current you has to work towards that future you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that goal will never happen. So you have to plan everything out as detailed in advance as possible. So that way you know the steps you should be taking to get towards that goal.
And honestly, for us, we feel like a year and like having yearly goals, it's honestly like really like daunting.
Yeah.
So we like to work in 6-month chunks, but still have like the year in mind. But doing this seriously changes everything about at least like our own lives. It gives us more confidence. Even if we aren't hitting goals like right now, we know exactly like what we're even trying to do, like financially and all the things, you know?
So basically like mapping everything out changes everything. So instead of waking up the day of the morning, which is what we used to do a lot, we used to be like, what are we doing today?
We were like,
and it was the
yeah,
worst.
the
It was the
worst.
absolute worst. When you set these goals, if it basically like if the action you're taking today doesn't work towards that goal, then you don't take that action.
Yeah.
So it eliminates like a ton of decision making. Like decision fatigue is such a huge thing.
Yeah.
You know, so you get to like set your goals, figure out what you're going to be doing for that day, know what you're going to be doing like the next couple of days. And so everything that you do has a reason and an impact.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the steps on how to actually do this. So the first step is to carve out, I would say probably, I'm not gonna lie, 1 to 3 hours with your spouse. Like if you're good, if you don't have kids, you could just do this. It's
Oh man,
like,
you can do whatever you want.
I
Just
try not
sit
to envy
down.
that life, honestly. I don't even think about that life.
Yeah.
But if you don't have kids, it doesn't matter. But if you do and you have a spouse, it's going to take, you know, more time because you have just a complex life. You have to factor in like your kids' activities or your finances, your savings accounts, if you have debt, or you really want to have time to fully be present and really bring everything to the table with your spouse or even just like by yourself.
Absolutely. So the second step that you want to do is basically list out your top 3 priorities for the year. And I don't mean things like, you know, finish that puzzle or do these like little tiny things, you know, for your priorities. It should be like big bucket kind of areas within your life. So it could be things like, you know, your health, your mental health, your physical health. It could be making more money. It could be your relationships. It could be time. It could be, you know, stress or debt or something like that, you know, whatever it may be. So you just need to pick 3 top like bucket priorities.
Yeah, and the reason why we do this now, this seems like so fluffy and like very surface level, but the reason why we do this is because when I did not do this and I didn't even have priorities, I was working from a place, I don't even know how to say it. Like, honestly, all the goals that I had were in the wrong category of priority for me. And they were all out of whack. So like before, as you guys know, if you watched me back then, my number one priority was just trying to make it on YouTube. Like I was just trying to feed my family. I was the breadwinner at the time. Now we do it all together, obviously. But that is like out of whack because like my priority should have been, and it's hard when you are the breadwinner, but it should have been to at least start working towards having my kids or being, you know, a stay-at-home mom, which is my priority for my own self. That should have been something that I was working towards instead of I was like working away from that completely, hence why everything was sort of in shambles. So that's why.
Yeah, and so what happens is like when you don't have the big bucket priorities, you start to think like other things are bigger priorities, like, you know, get 300,000 subscribers on YouTube, or, you know, put up 3 videos a week. But you have to know why you're doing those smaller things, and those have to fall into the bigger buckets of priorities.
Yeah, so we're gonna honestly be candid in this video and tell you guys like what our general priorities are and what they were last year. They're honestly, we're not gonna.
It's not that sketchy.
Yeah. But so I guess like for us, our number one priority is relationships this year. So and I wrote them all down obviously, but intentional time with the kids. So we're very specific. So we want to do church every week, homeschool co-op every single week, having like social time. Homeschool, we want to start that with our oldest and our middle child. Sports and activities, so we want to get our kids in like horseback riding. She's already in Taekwondo. But basically like really reinforcing the relationships with other people and also with each other. So that is like number 1.
Yeah.
And then you want to do number 2?
Yeah, but I just want to say like a lot of these priorities that we've picked are because of the negative experiences that we had previously. Like
we're not trying to repeat past mistakes.
We're not trying to repeat like negative relationships with our kids from the years prior, you know, working too much or things like that. So that's kind of where that comes from.
So the second priority, like for us specifically, is building generational wealth or whatever you want to call it. Really just like making more money, to be candid, in our online business. And I just want to like show you guys like what we've been able to do within the last 12 months, like because of the system. So like this time last year, I was still sort of relying on YouTube. I can't remember.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I was like a full-time YouTuber making all my money through AdSense and brand deals.
I think we actually just rolled out YouTubepreneur and
it was like the last of it.
Yeah, the last of it, and then a little bit of our other program.
Yeah, but at the time, I didn't want to do YouTube. Like, I didn't want to have to rely on, like, getting views and going viral. It's, like, so stressful with tiny kids. It's, like, I don't know. And then YouTube shutting down or something crazy happening. So because of that, my number 1 priority last year, or my second priority after relationships, was to get a new business. So we literally we're like, gotta replace this income. So at the time, and you guys can watch, like, we did an income report on one of our last podcasts. I think maybe, I don't know if it was the last one, but I'll link it down below for our new business. And we talk about how we did it, everything like that, if you're interested. But we're very candid with numbers because it's like, who's gonna be? Anyways, that's a different topic for another time. But with YouTube, I was making around $20K a month, which is a lot of money, but I didn't like how I was making my money. I learned that hard lesson. So my second priority, other than like reinstill the better relationships with my kids and my husband, was to replace that $20K. And we didn't only replace it, we like 3x plus.
3x it.
So because of the system, like seriously, because we worked from our future selves and like from that place. So that was our past like wealth building goal, I guess. And Doug's going to talk about like what it is this year.
Yeah. So really what we want to do now is we want to, like Haley said, build that generational wealth, but then also find a way to continue building wealth while removing ourselves from the business. And then also be able to spend more time to, get back into that relationship area with the kids. So that means being able to hire more people. So we have some people that work for us, but we want to be able to hire more. You want to be able to expand your business types, and we want to be able to like learn how to invest and do different things. And it's all kind of working towards that goal of building wealth that kind of works a little bit more for us.
And then the last priority for us is like health. So for me, I would like to lose a lot of weight and like look the best ever, like honestly, but I like to keep it minimalist, sort of like my goals. So I just want to have a better, healthier mental state. And Doug's just laughing. Every spouse laughs at the other spouse. I don't know, whatever.
No.
Maybe it's just
I'm with you.
Yeah,
like,
so
better mental health really is like a huge thing.
And so like I like to actually write down, how am I going to do that? So it's not just like meditate, journal. Like I don't do those things. I should, but honestly, but it's like schedule all my trips at one time so I can have something to look forward to.
Like planning this year, like doing these steps helps with your mental health and being able to plan what you want to do too.
Doug, I wrote this down for Doug, but like he wants to probably do tennis. He wants to like look at his drift events, because for his mental health, it's like, can I do my hobbies? That's all I live for in my life, and my kids, obviously. But he's not about like, let's make a bunch of money. He just wants to be a hobbyist. Okay, he's like obsessed with his keyboards and drift car and whatever. So maybe scheduling like drift events in like the present time, so everyone's aware of like how we need to navigate the kids, so we can do things. So that's our mental health, but everyone is like different. Maybe that's like, I don't know,
maybe that's
self-care
lame
routines.
to people, or whatever.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, lame?
I was going to say maybe it's lame thinking about this stuff. But no, that you all need to pick your own priorities again.
Yeah. And so the third step is to establish your number one goal for the year. Like if you could choose one thing to work towards, then what is that going to be? So do you want to talk about what ours is for this year? And last year was obviously like, replace our income, get a new business, because that would cure like all the issues of life, which it did. But what is it for this year?
So our number one goal for this year, like if we could do anything, I know people would think
it's like
hit a certain number or like do a certain thing. Really, like this number one goal is like the main beacon that everything should be driving towards. And that's as strange as it sounds, basic as it sounds, we need to create a rhythm, a daily rhythm for our life that basically works and makes everybody happy and makes everybody feel fulfilled so that we can just be a better family together. Yeah,
because we know that, first off, I hate schedules. Like I've tried to fit myself in a schedule box for like 4 years, ever since I have
7 Excel sheets that are like daily schedule.
You don't even want to look at my little notebook from Home Goods. It's like schedule. Because it's so hard when you are self-employed, because you don't, you have to have a lot of discipline, but whatever. And you don't also want to have like to do the same thing every day. So anyways, we want to have a rhythm. That's what I like to call it. So because I know that if I have a daily rhythm and I'm intentional with my kids and I carve out time with my spouse and for the business, all of our problems and our goals will be fulfilled. Problems will be solved. So
and rhythm meaning like you don't have to do the same thing every day, but it should be like kid time, work time, spouse time, hobby time, kid time, work time, like the same thing, like kind of this. So it's the same rhythm. We all know about this time of the week or this time of the day. This is what we're doing. It doesn't have to be like Play-Doh every day.
Mine is that. Okay, I'm with the kids a lot now, so that is what mine is. It's like Monday's Play-Doh time. Tuesday is craft time. Anyways, but like being very intentional about our time. So the fourth step is like the breakthrough like thing that I actually learned from a guy named Sharan something. He's a business mentor. Like
worst plug.
I know Sharan. I don't know his last name, but it's on Instagram. I gotta find it. I'll link it below if I can find him. But basically, he taught me this like he's very successful, and I guess I don't know him, but all areas of life. And he taught me this concept because you can do like goal planning all day and like I'm gonna lose 30 pounds in January, but he teaches you this concept that you have to ask yourself. So step 4 is what conditions need to be met in order to achieve that goal. And this sort of like tangent question that you want to ask yourself is, what person do you need to become to actually fulfill your goals? Because if you're working from the place of like you make all of these like errors that they're never going to actually like fulfill your goal. Like errors as in you want to lose weight, let's say hypothetically, but you just sleep in every day. You have to become the person that wakes up early. You know, so for us, like last year, the person that we needed to become was we needed to sacrifice nights and naps. So we did all of this by working just nights and naps. Like sometimes we worked during the day, but really it was only like 2 hours, maybe max. And so that's kind of like who we need to become.
So for us in this next year, like the people that we needed to become in order to be able to hit our one goal and to create that rhythm, one of the biggest pieces of rhythm, as weird as it sounds, is getting like office space.
Yeah.
So we got office space so that way we have more dedicated time to fit a better schedule. So we know who's working, when's working, the kids feel it. Everyone knows there's no sense of like, of missing or, you know, like feeling confused or lost.
Yeah, because we worked from home for like since 2018, since we work online for ourselves. And it's like, should we be working right now? Should we be playing right now? And it's like very hard. There's no boundaries.
And so that condition that needed to be met was that there was no questioning what was going to be happening.
Yeah.
So that person that we needed to turn into was a person who's like very firm on their schedule. They have very hard boundaries and they really make sure that they carve out that time that they need to. Because we were very like fluid. We thought like being entrepreneurs was about being fluid and doing stuff whenever you wanted to. And it just caused so much havoc. So like we needed to move away from that.
Yeah. So the fifth step is to get a calendar. So I like to do a giant whiteboard. Do you want to get it, Doug?
Sure.
So we have like, you know, that looks very hard to do. But we have like months of the year, and this isn't obviously filled out at all. So we're not going to share it on YouTube, honestly. Maybe, I don't know, maybe one day. Yeah. But we have a month and we have like what we want to have accomplished during that month. So we also have a digital calendar, Douglas.
I'm like the digital person. I'm not about the writing things.
No.
Well, you can't read my handwriting anyways.
No, I literally can't. But what do we use? Google Cal?
Yeah, Google Calendar, and then I also use spreadsheets. Sometimes I connect the spreadsheet to Google Calendar.
Yes, he's very techie. But we have a shared Google Calendar. I'm sure most people do with their spouse. If you don't, like, you got to do it. And you got to send them alerts. Like, it's good.
It's got to be there.
Taekwondo, 3 o'clock, so they're not like, oh my gosh, got to bring my child. Like, I was supposed to do something. Yeah. So Google Calendar. And I used to use the calendar on my MacBook. And that is so cringe at who I was back then. Because that's like just, it doesn't even sync with anybody. What was the point? So yeah, we put everything on the Google Calendar. Like things that we have to do, calls with other students.
Things that we want to do, carving out time with each other.
Picnic time with the kids, you know, like everything. And then the sixth step is to actually fill it in. So I have a lot of things that we fill in, and I will try and like list them all in the description box below. But the first thing is just like life dates. So like dates that happen no matter what. Obviously holidays are already on there, probably. Birthdays, special events. But you also want to fill in like additional dates like anniversaries. What else? Date nights at home. I want to start doing that, but like at home, we don't go anywhere. You know, and like things for ourselves. So like drift days, girls trips. I want to visit my sister, weddings, volunteering at church. You know, if you don't write those things down, like I know for certain, if Doug does not tell me when a drift event is, and it's just like the day before, like he won't be prepared first off because he has to do something with his car. Like, I don't know what. But he won't like get to do, like years will go by. This is why you see people that are older and they're like, I just never, they're so burnt out and they're having that like midlife crisis because they never did anything for themselves because they never planned it, you know? And so that when you start to feel like that suffocated feeling like you're always with your kids or you don't have time for your spouse, it's because you just didn't plan it. So you got to plan it in advance. So the other thing that we wanted to put on the calendar is booking trips in advance. I don't know about you guys. I'm no travel agent, but every time I'm like, I want to travel. Like we have the means now and I'm just not doing it because it takes like hours of research.
Yeah. And so if
who can I pay for that? Like a travel agent, I guess.
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, that's what travel agents are for.
I know, but like, do I trust their opinion? I don't know. I don't know. So I should think about that. But yeah, booking them in advance. Because like a big priority for us is showing our kids like things outside their bubble, you know, of daily life. And it's not necessary for a fulfilling life or whatever. Travel isn't. But I want to do that. You know?
And it's such a big event that like if you are trying to figure out what you're doing for the year and you're trying to plan things out and you want to have goals and you want to have structure, you need to schedule your trips. Yeah. Like you need to plan them. So put them in the calendar. Make sure you write down like how long you want to be around somewhere, the places you want to go, how often. So spread them out. Like we were like before all of this started happening, we wanted to do like a new country every 4 months or something like that. So like you got to plan all that stuff.
And it wasn't our priority last year, but it's definitely my priority this year because if you don't do it now, like you're not going to do it. And I know some people are like, we don't have money to travel. Like we never did up until seriously like this moment right now. Like I can't even tell you, we've been working and we didn't have that much money for it. So if you don't have money, you can still schedule things. So you can go, and I still do this, but like you can go on like your city's homepage and you can look at all of the events that they have planned for free. It's hard with like the state of the world. You don't know, especially where you live, like you don't know, but you can try your best, right? So if they're having like a chili cook-off, like you can write that down and you'll know it's like 2 months away. So you know that you can do fun things. Or if you like are really into hiking, which I try to do, like we did like one time, and I want to be like a hiking family, which you got to evolve into your new self, whatever. But you got to look up the hikes in advance and like make sure you have all that planned, because you're not going to do it like the day of, what are we doing today?
All the gear and
boring,
all the stuff.
you know?
Yeah.
If you want an adventurous life, you have to plan, like at least I do.
And make sure it's on the Google Calendar, or make sure it's synced up, because you don't want to be like, hey, on my calendar it says we're hiking today.
The other thing though, if you can, like I know I've never been able to do this, like we haven't. Pay for it in advance, so you just have to go. Like, and you want to go, but it's like I would love to sit down, which that's another day. Like this is probably not involved in this one day of planning, but sit down and pay for all of the things, like pay for the flights. And I know this is a luxury, okay? We've never been able to do it, but if you can, I don't know, you should do that, like for sure.
So another thing that you can do is you can actually share parts of your calendar, because you can split up Google Calendar if you share it that way. You can split it up to be able to send to different people. So like you could send it to the grandparents. Be like, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's the kids' events.
This is our like availability.
Here's when you guys can come out and visit, and make sure you don't come on these other days. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a great way to be able to kind of like get other people involved within your planning too. If like for us, relationships is a big part of our year. So the other thing that you can write in are things like your health and wellness.
This makes me laugh that Doug's saying this part.
I know, like that is my
never
part.
Do this.
Never, I would never plan it. It's just like, oh, my teeth hurt, I should probably go to the dentist now. Like, but you got to plan things like dentist appointments, doctor's appointments. But you could sit there, like one time last year, I sat there with my phone at a car wash, so random. They were like, he was with the kids, and I was calling like the dentist for all the people, all the family. You know, we have a lot of people now, 5 of us in the family, and the doctor, and planned everything out.
Everything.
Put it in the calendar. She didn't even put it in the calendar. You know what she did? She texted me the times and was like, put these in the calendar.
Yeah, I did. But you can sit there and do that for like the whole year, you know, because I don't know about you guys. I don't know if it's where we live or our insurance. I don't know. We have good insurance, but sometimes they're like, we don't have availability for 3 months. I'm but I need to go.
Other stuff happening in the world.
Yeah. So anyways, doing that all at once is like so helpful for the year. The other thing that we really are making a goal for, and just like, I don't know, give you guys some inspiration, is like socializing. We found, because like sort of by doing this whole planning system, the whole point of it is like, how can we be the happiest possible people ever? And like the biggest thing that we found this year is like, I know it's simple, but it's like socializing has brought us more happiness than ever. The years where we were just like sort of isolated with ourselves.
And our business.
Yeah, and our businesses. You know, those were like the most unhappy years. So this year we were like putting on the calendar. We're going to go to this church and like try different churches. We finally found one. And then every Friday we make it a point to invite someone over to our house, or to like do something with someone else. And every single week, you know, just makes us happier people, you know? And building those relationships is such a time suck, but it's like, I don't know, it's not a time suck in a bad way, but like you have to do it, you know, you have to put the time toward it.
If it's one of your priorities.
Yeah. So as far as like putting things on the calendar, like for our own success, personal goals, business goals, we would write out what we want to have done when. So like when you're going to launch a new product, or when you're going to hire a new employee, or when you're going to hopefully hit a certain threshold of followers if you're trying to grow on social media. So writing that out on your like your calendar, instead of like aimlessly posting, which I did for like 5 years, you guys, like so no monetization strategy at all, or just like planning for how your goals are going to be met on the calendar is like very helpful. And then that's pretty much everything we put on the calendar. But the other thing I didn't mention is like, well, what do you do week by week? Which maybe that's another video, but every Sunday we try and sit down and write out like expectations, because unmet expectations is like, in my opinion, like the seed of like annoyance and resentment with like your spouse, or even like your kids,
like everything.
Your kids want to know like what's coming next and what do they have to look forward to. So writing out like what you're doing for the week, and that's a simple one, but we didn't do it for years.
Yeah, and then sometimes if there's like lots of stuff that are going on, or we needed to catch up, sometimes we'll even do it the night before.
We still do it the night before.
And you sit there and you have to just make sure that, again, expectations are met. Are the steps that we're taking the next day going towards those priorities that we have, that we planned out? And
it's like simple things, like if you expect your spouse to, like, even if you guys both go to work, it like clean the dishes at night or take out the trash, and they're just like not prone to doing that, and every day you're like, he never helps or whatever. Well, you got to set the expectation. You help with everything. Not everything, but you're fine.
I know.
You got to set the expectation.
You got to film this video with me.
Yeah. Get in there. The baby's napping. Literally, the baby is napping. Yeah. But yeah, so like setting expectations like at the beginning of the week is like so helpful. Yep. So that's pretty much it for today's like how to plan your year in advance. Look at the description box and I'll write out like everything that we ask ourselves and ask each other. And maybe next time I'll do a video on like what our daily routine looks like. And it's pretty much sort of the same every day-ish. But yeah, let me know if you guys want that. And also as a side note, Doug actually is restarting his YouTube channel. Doug Does Digital. What are you going to be talking about over there, Doug?
I'm going to be talking about lots of different things, but a lot of it's really going to be like business mindset, being able to go from like 9-to-5 worker to starting your own business or entrepreneurial mindset.
How Doug can afford his hobbies.
How I can afford my hobbies.
And your hobbies.
Really what it's going to be is I haven't really told Haley all of this yet because it's still kind of secret, but it's going to be like how to run a business but still love your life, still maintain your hobbies, hang out with your kids, hang out with your family.
We are not prone to like the hustle grind culture.
I'm
like tired
grind.
of it, like honestly.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, subscribe to his channel if you guys want to see more of him and like more of a business insight into everything. This channel is more about like lifestyle and like family. But thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.